Gonna tell the truth about it. Honey, that's the hardest part. Bonnie Raitt, Tangled and Dark.
If it no go so, it go near so. Jamaican proverb.
Sir Arthur George Jennings. Listen. Dead people never stop talking. Maybe because death is not death at all, just a detention after school. You know where you're coming from, and you're always returning from it. You know where you're going, though you never seem to get there. And you're just dead. Dead. It sounds final, but it's a word missing an ing. You come across men longer dead than you, walking all the time, though heading nowhere, and you listen to them howl and hiss, because we're all spirits, or we think we're all spirits, but we're all just dead. Spirits that slip inside other spirits. Sometimes a woman slips inside a man and wails like the memory of making love. They moan and keen loud, but it comes through the window like a whistle or a whisper under the bed, and little children think there's a monster. The dead love lying under the living for 3 reasons. 1, we're lying most of the time. 2, under the bed looks like the top of a coffin. But 3, there is weight, human weight on top, that you can slip into and make heavier. And you listen to the heartbeat while you watch it pump, and hear the nostrils hiss when their lungs press air, and envy even the shortest breath. I have no memory of coffins. But the dead never stop talking. And sometimes the living hear. This is what I wanted to say. When you're dead, speech is nothing but tangents and detours, and there's nothing to do but stray and wander a while. Well, that's at least what the others do. My point being that the expired learn from the expired, but that's tricky. I could listen to myself, still claiming to anybody that would hear that I didn't fall. I was pushed over the balcony at the Sunset Beach Hotel in Montego Bay, and I can't say shut your trap, Artie Jennings, because every morning I wake up having to put my pumpkin-smashed head back together. And even as I talk now, I can hear how I sounded then. Can you dig it, dingle-doodies? Meaning that the afterlife is just not a happening scene, not a groovy shindig, Daddy-O. See those cool cats on the mat?
Bluetooth
They
connected.
could never dig it, and there's nothing to do but wait for
Bluetooth
the man that
disconnected.
killed me. But he won't die. He only gets older and older and trades out wives for younger and younger, and breeding a whole brood of slow-witted boys and running the country down into the ground. Dead people never stop talking, and sometimes the living hear. Sometimes he talks back, if I catch him right as his eyes start to flicker in his sleep, talks until his wife slaps him. But I'd rather listen to the longer dead. I see men in split breeches and bloody long coats, and they talk, but blood comes out of their mouths, and good heavens, that slave rebellion was such ghastly business, and the Queen has of course been of bloody awful use ever since the West India Company began their rather shoddy decline compared to the East. And why are there so many Negroes taking to sleeping so unsoundly wherever they see fit? And confound it all, I seem to have misplaced the left half of my face. To be dead is to understand that dead is not gone. You're in the flatness of the Deadlands. Time doesn't stop. You watch it move, but you are still, like a painting with a Mona Lisa smile. In this space, a 300-year-old slit throat and 2-minute-old crib death is the same. If you don't watch how you sleep, you'll find yourself the way the living found you. Me, I'm lying on the floor, my head a smashed pumpkin, with my right leg twisted behind the back, and my 2 arms bent in a way that arms aren't supposed to bend, and from high up, from the balcony, I look like a dead spider. I am up there and down here, and from up there I see myself the way my killer saw me, The dead relive emotion, an action, a scream, and they're there again, just like that. The train that never stopped running until it ran off the rails, the ledge from that building 16 floors up, the car trunk that ran out of air. Rude boys' bodies bursting like pricked balloons. 56 bullets. Nobody falls that way without being pushed. I know. And I know how it feels and looks, a body that falls fighting air all the way down, grabbing onto clumps of nothing and begging once, just goddamn once, Jesus, you sniveling son of a mongrel bitch, just once that air gives a grip. And you land in a ditch 5 feet deep, or a marble-tiled floor 16 feet down, still fighting when the floor rises up and smashes into you because it got tired of waiting for blood. And we're still dead, but we wake up. Me, a crushed spider, him, a burned cockroach. I have no memory of coffins. Listen. Living people wait and see because they fool themselves that they have time. Dead people see and wait. I once asked my Sunday school teacher, if heaven is the place of eternal life and hell is the opposite of heaven, what does that make hell? A place for dirty little red boys like you, she said. She's still alive. I see her at the eventide old folks' home, getting too old and too stupid, not knowing her name and talking in so soft a rasp that nobody can hear that she's scared of nightfall, because that's when the rats come for her good toes. I see more than that. Look hard enough, or maybe just to the left, and you see a country that was the same as I left it. It never changes. Whenever I'm around people, they are exactly as I had left them. Aging makes no difference. The man who was the father of a nation, father to me more than my own, cried like a sudden widow when he heard I had died. You never know when people's dreams are connected to you before you're gone, and then there's nothing to do but watch them die in a different way, slow, limb by limb, system by system. Heart condition, diabetes, slow-killing diseases with slow-sounding names. This is the body going over to death with impatience, one part at a time. He will live to see them make him a national hero, and he will die the only person thinking he had failed. That's what happens when you personify hopes and dreams in one person. He becomes nothing more than a literary device. This is a story of several killings, of boys who meant nothing to a world still spinning, but each of them, as they pass me, carry the sweet stink scent of the man that killed me. The first, he screams his tonsils out, but the scream stops right at the gate of his teeth because they have gagged him, and it tastes like vomit and stone. And someone has tied his hands tight behind his back, but they feel loose because all the skin is rubbed off and blood is greasing the rope. He's kicking with both legs because right is tied to left, kicking the dirt rising 5 feet, then 6, and he cannot stand because it's raining mud and dirt and dust to dust and rocks. One rock claps his nose, and another bullets his eye, and it's erupting, and he's screaming, but the scream runs right to the tip of his mouth and then back down like reflux, and the dirt is a flood that's rising and rising, and he cannot see his toes. Then he'll wake up, and he's still dead, and he won't tell me his name. Original Rockers, December 2nd, 1976.
Bam Bam. I know I was 14. That me know. I also know that too many people talk too much, especially the American, who never shut up. Just switch to a laugh every time him talk about you. And it sounds strange how he put your name beside people we never hear about. Allende Lumumba, a name that sounds like a country that Kunta Kinte come from. The American, most of the time hide him eye with sunglasses like he's a preacher from America come to talk to black people. Him and the Cuban come sometimes together, sometimes on their own. And when one talk, the other always quiet. The Cuban don't fuck with guns because guns always need to be needed, him say. And I know me used to sleep on a cot. And I know that my mother was a whore and my father was the last good man in the ghetto. And I know we watch your big house on Hope Road for days now. And at one point you come talk to us like you was Jesus and we was Iscariot. And you're not as if to say, get on with your business and do what you have to do. But I can't remember if me see you or if somebody told me that him see you so that me think I see it too. You stepping out on the back porch, eating a slice of breadfruit. She coming out of nowhere like she have serious business outside at that time of night and shocked. So shocked that you don't have no clothes on. Then she reach for your fruit because she want to eat it, even though Rasta don't like when woman loose. And you both get to midnight raving, and I grab myself and rave too. From either seeing it or hearing it, and then you write a song about it. The boy from Concrete Jungle, on the same girly green scooter come by for 4 days at 8 in the morning and 4 in the evening for the brown envelope until the new security squad start to turn him back. We know about that business too. In the 8 lanes and in Copenhagen City. All you can do is watch. Sweet-talking voice on the radio said that crime and violence are taking over the country, and if change ever going to come, then we will have to wait and see. But all we can do down here in the 8 lanes is see and wait. And I see shit water run free down the street and I wait. And I see my mother take 2 men for $20 each and one more who paid $25 to stay in instead of pull out. And I wait. And I watch my father get so sick and tired of her that he beat her like a dog. And I sees the zinc on the roof rust itself brown. And then the rain bat a hole into it like foreign cheese. And I see 7 people in one room, and 1 pregnant, and people fucking anyway, because people so poor that they can't even afford shame. And I wait. And the little room gets smaller and smaller, and more sister, brother, cousin come from country. The city getting bigger and bigger, and there be no place to rub a dub or cut your shit, and no chicken back to curry. And even when there is, it still costs too much money, and that little girl gets stabbed because they know she get lunch money every Tuesday. And the boys like me getting older, and not in school very regular, and can't read Dick and Jane, but no Coca-Cola, and want to go to a studio, and cut a tune, and sing hit songs, and ride the rhythm out of the ghetto. But Copenhagen City and the 8 lanes both too big. And every time you reach the edge move ahead of you like a shadow until the whole world is a ghetto. And you wait. I see you hungry and waiting and know that it's just luck. You loafing around the studio and Desmond Decker telling the man to give you a break. And he give you the break because he hear the hunger in your voice before he even hear you sing. You cut a tune, but not a hit song. Too pretty for the ghetto even then. For we're past the time when prettiness make anybody's life easy. We see you hustle and trying to talk your way 12 inches taller, and we want to see you feel. And we know nobody would want you to be a rude boy anyway, for you look like a schemer. And when you disappear to Delaware and come back, you try sing the ska, but ska already left the ghetto to take up residence uptown. Ska take the plane to foreign to show white people that it's just like the twist. Maybe that make the Syrian and the Lebanese proud. But when we see them in the newspaper posing with air hostess, we're not proud, just stunned stupid. You make another song, this time a hit. But one hit can't bounce you out of the ghetto when you're recording hits for a vampire. One hit can't make you into Skeeter Davis or the man who sings them gunfighter ballads. By the time boy like me drop out my mother, she give up. Preacher says there is a God-shaped void in everybody's life, But the only thing ghetto people can fill a void with is void. 1972 is nothing like 1962. And people still whispering, for they could never shout that. When Artie Jennings dead, all of a sudden he took the dream with him. The dream of what? I don't know. People stupid. The dream didn't leave. People just don't know a nightmare when they're right in the middle of one. More people start moving to the ghetto because Delroy Wilson just sing that Better Must Come. And the man who would become Prime Minister sing it too. Better must come. Man who look like white man but chat bad like nigger when they have to. Singing Better Must Come. Woman who dressed like the Queen, who never care about the ghetto before it swell and burst in Kingston, singing Better Must Come. But worse come first. We see and wait. Two men bring guns to the ghetto. One man show me how to use it. But ghetto people used to kill each other long before that. With anything we could find. Stick, machete, knife, ice pick, soda bottle. Kill for food, kill for money. Sometimes a man get killed because he look at another man in a way that he didn't like. And killing don't need no reason. This is ghetto. Reason is for rich people. We have madness. Madness is walking up a good street downtown and seeing a woman dress up in the latest fashion and wanting to go straight up to her and grab her bag, knowing that it's not the bag or the money that we want so much, but the scream. When she see that you jump right into her pretty up face and you could slap the happy right out of her mouth and punch the joy right out of her eye and kill her right there and rape her before or after you kill her, because that is what rude boys like we do to decent women like her. Madness that make you follow a man in a suit down King Street, where poor people never go, and watch him throw a sandwich, chicken. You smell it and you wonder how people can be so rich that they use chicken for just to put between sauce of bread. And you pass the garbage and see it, still in the file, and still fresh. Not brown with the other garbage and no fly on it yet. And you think, maybe. And you think, yes. And you think you have to, just to see what chicken tastes like with no bone. But you say you're not no madman. And the madness in you is not crazy people madness, but angry madness. Because you know the man threw it away because he wants you to see. And you promise yourself that one day rude boy gonna start walking with a knife. And next time, I'm going to jump him and carve sufferer right in him chest. But he no boy like me can't walk downtown for long before we get pounced on by Babylon. Police only have to see that me don't have no shoes before he say, what the blood clot you nasty niggers doing round decent people? And give me two choices. Run, and he give chase into one of the lanes that cut through the city so that he can shoot me in the private. Plenty shots in the magazine, so at least one bullet must hit. Or stand down and get beat up right in front of decent people. Him swinging a baton and knocking out my side teeth and cracking my temple so that I can never hear good out of that ear again. And saying, let that be a lesson to never take your dirty stinking ghetto self uptown again. And I see them, and I wait. But then you come back even though nobody know when you leave. Women want to know why you come back when you can always get nice things like Uncle Ben's rice in America. We wonder if you go there to sing hit songs. Somehow we keep watching as you shift through the ghetto like small fish in a big river. Me know your game now, but didn't see it then. Or your friend up the gunman here, the Rasta with the big sound there, and this bad man and that rude boy and even my father. So that everybody know you enough to like you, but not enough to remember to recruit you. You sing just about anything. Anything to get a hit. Even stuff that you alone know and nobody else care about. And I love her. Because Prince bust a cover, You Won't See Me. And get himself a hit. You use what you have. Even a melody that's not yours, and you sing it hard and sing it long and sing yourself straight out of the ghetto. By 1971, you're already on TV. By 1971, I shoot my first shot. I was 10. And get a life don't mean nothing. It's nothing to kill a boy. I remember the last time my father tried to save me. He run home from the factory. I remember because my face reached him chest when we both stand, and he panting so hard like a dog. The rest of the evening we in the house, on we knee and toe. It's again, he say, too loud and too quick. Who stand up first lose, he said. So me stand up because me is 10 and me is big boy. I'm tired of game, but he yell and grab me and thump me in the chest. And me huff and puff and breathing so hard that I want to cry and want to hate him. But then the first one slipped through like somebody fling gravel and it bounced against the wall. And then the next and the next. And then they rip right across the wall, pop, 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 except for the last bullet that hit a pot with a bang. And then 6, 7, 10, 20 blasts into the wall like a chuk, 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 chuk. And he grabbed me and tried to cover my ears, but he grabbed so hard and he don't realize that he's digging into my eye. And I hear the bullet and the pop, 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 and the whoosh, boom, and feel the floor shake. And woman scream, and man scream, and boy scream in that way where life cut short, and you can hear the scream get lost in blood rushing from the throat up to the mouth. A gargle, a choke. And he hold me down and gag my scream, and I want to bite him hand, so I bite him hand, because it also covering my nose, and please, Papa, don't kill me. But he's shaking, and I wonder if it's death shake, and the ground shaking again, and feet all around. Men running and passing and running and laughing and screaming and shouting, that man from the 8 lanes, all going dead. And Daddy pushed me down flat on the ground and covered me with himself. But him so heavy, and my nose hurt, and he smell of car engine, and him knee or something in my back, and the floor tastes bitter, and I know it's the red floor polish, and I want him to get up off me. And me hate him, and everything sound like it covered in stockings. And when he finally get off me, people outside screaming. But there's no more pop, 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 or whoosh, boom. But he crying, and I hate him. 2 days later, my mother come back laughing, because she know her new dress is the one pretty thing in this whole rascal ghetto. And he's here because he didn't go to work, because nobody feels safe to walk the street. And he go right after her and grab her and say, "Bumbaclot Oren girl, me can smell man stinking cocky cheese pon you." He grab her by the hair and punch her in the belly, and she screamed that he not no man since he can't even fuck a flea. And him say, "Oh, is fuck you want?" And he say, "Make me find a cocky big enough for you." And he grab her by the hair and drag her into the room, and me watching from under the sheet, where he put me to hide just in case bad man come in the night. And he grab a broomstick, and he beat her from head to foot, from front to back, and she's screaming until she whelping, and then moaning. And he say, "You want big cocky? Make me give you big cocky, you fucking pussyclot whoring bitch." And he take the broomstick and spread open her legs by kicking them apart. He kick her out of the house and threw her clothes after her. And I think that is the last time me gonna see my mother. But she come back the next day, bandaged up like a mummy from the movie that show for 30 cents at Rialto Cinema, and 3 other men with her. They grab my father, the 3 of them, but my father fight them like a man, even punch them like John Wayne in a movie, like how a real man's supposed to fight. But he is 1, and they is 3, and soon 4. And the 4th one come in only when they beat my father like a smashed tomato. And he say, "Me name Funny Boy. Me next in line to be the Don. But you know what you name? You know what you name?" Me say, "If you know what you name, pussyhole." And my mother laugh, but it come out like a wheeze. And Funny Boy say, "You think because you work in factory you're hot? Is me get you to work at factory, and me can take it away, pussy hole. You know what your name is, pussy hole? You name Informer. And he tell everybody to leave. And he say, you know why them call me funny boy? 'Cause me not take nothing for joke. Even in the dark, funny boy lighter than nearly everybody else. But him skin always red, like blood, always right under the skin, or like white people who in the sun too long. And him eye grey like a cat. And funny boy tell my father that he going die now, right now. But if he make him feel good, he can live like them lion and born free. Only he would have to leave the ghetto. And he said, only one way you're going to live. And he said other things, but he pulled down him zip and he take it out and he say, you want to live? You want to live? And my father want to live. And my father spit. And funny boy hold the gun right near my father ear. And he tell my father about country and where he can go. And he can take him picnic with him. And when he say picnic, I shake. But nobody know that me under the cover. And they say, you want to live? You want to live? Over and over and over again like a nagging little girl. And he rubbed my father's lips with him gun. And my father opened his mouth. And funny boy say, if you bite off my head, I'm going to shoot you in the neck so you hear yourself dying. And he put it in my father's mouth. And funny boy say, you might as well lick, since you suck like a dead fish. And he groan and groan and groan and fuck my father's head. Then pull himself out and hold my father's head steady and fire. Pop. Not like the pow in cowboy movie, and not like when Harry Callahan fire, but one big sharp pop that shake the room. The blood splat on the wall. My gas and the gunshot go off the same time so nobody know me under the blanket still. My mother run back in and start to laugh and kick my father. And funny boy go up to her and shoot her in the face. She fall right on top of me. So when he said, find the little boy, they look everywhere but under my mother. Funny boy say, can you imagine? The little batty boy say him would suck me like some bowcat and make me feel good if me make him live. Dirty pervert all reach out and grab my wood. Can you imagine that? He said to the men who looking round for me. But my mother on top of me and her fingers right by my face. And me in a cage looking through her fingers. And I don't cry. And funny boy going on and on about how he know that my father was a batty man. Have to be a batty man, that must be why him woman was such a whore. Because how else her pussy going to get looked after? And then he say, don't tell none of this to Shatta Sheriff. The house quiet. Me push my mother off. And happy that it dark. But I can't leave because they might catch me. So I see and wait. As I wait, my father on the floor by the door. And he get up and come over to me and say, English is the best subject in school. Because even if you get a job as a plumber, nobody gonna give you any work if you chat bad. And chatting good is everything, even before learning a trade. And that a man must learn to cook, even though that is a woman things. And he talking and talking and talking too much. Just like he always talk too much. And sometimes he talks so loud that I wonder if he want the next door to hear and learn from him too. But no, he's still on the ground. And he telling me to run. To run now because they're going to come back to take them Clark shoes off him foot. And whatever else in the house that worth anything. And they will tear down the house looking for money even though he put all the money in the bank. He over at the door. Me pull the Clarks off. But see him head and vomit. The Clark's too big, and a clop to get over to the back of the house. With nothing outside but old railway and bush, and me trip over my damn whore mother who jerk like she alive, but she not. Me climb up the window and jump. The Clark's too big to run, So me take them off and run through bush and broken bottle and wet shit and dry shit and fire not yet put out, and the dead railway taking me out of the 8 lanes. And I run and hide in the maca bush until the sky got orange, then pink, then grey, and then the sun put out and the moon rise fat. When me see 3 truck drive past with nothing but man in them, I run until me reach the garbage lands. Nothing but waste and junk and shit stretching for miles. Nothing but what uptown people throw out. Rubbish rising high like hill and valley and dunes, like a desert, and everywhere burning. And I still running, and I don't stop until me see ghetto again. And I roadblock by a truck, and I run under the truck, and still running, and man shouting and woman screaming, and the house them look different, closer, tighter. And I running, and some man come out with a machine gun, but woman scream that it's just a boy, and he bleeding. And something trip me, and me fall and start to bawl loud, and 2 man come up to me, and one point a gun, and me wheezing now like my daddy do, in him sleep, and the man with the gun come to me and shout, "Where you from? You smell like one of them 8 lanes Batman." And the other man say, "I pick me that, a blood pon him." And the other say, "If man shoot you boy." I can't talk. All me can say is Clark's is good shoe. Clark's is good And the man with the gun go click. And somebody shout how that blood clot Josie Wales love fire a gun so. And not everything solved by a bam bam. And both men step away from me, but plenty gather, including woman. Then they open a space like Moses just part the Red Sea. And he stepped towards me and stop. Shot a sheriff killing him own now? Him no know say able-bodied man ration, he say. Must be 8 lanes birth control. Everybody laugh. I say mama and daddy, and can't say anything else. But he nod and understand. You want to kill him back? He say. And I want to say for my father, but not my mother. But all I say is, yi. And I nod hard, like I just get hit and can't talk. He say, soon, and call a woman over. And she tried to pick me up, but I grabbed my Clarks, and the man laugh. He's a big man, and wearing a white mesh marina that glow in the street light, and light up him face. Most of it hiding in him beard. But not him eyes, for them big, and almost glow too. And he smiles so much that you barely notice how thick him lips be, or that when he stop smiling, and him cheeks sink, that him beard cut him face into a sharp V, and him eyes stare at you cold. The man say, let them know that is not get a dog that live over here in Copenhagen City. Then he look at me like he can talk without saying anything, and I know that he's seen something that he can use. He say, get this boy some coconut water. And the woman say, yes, Papa Lo. And I live in Copenhagen City from then on. And I see the 8 lanes and I wait for the time. And I see man in Copenhagen City with nothing but a knife. Then a cowboy gun. Then an M16. Then a gun so heavy he can barely carry it himself. And I turn 12. Or at least I think so. Since Papa Lo called the day he find me, my birthday. And he gave me a gun too. And he called me Bam Bam. And I go to the garbage lands with other boy and learn to fire. But the recoil make me trip, and they laugh and call me little pussyhole. And I said, that's what me call your mother last night when me fuck her. And they laugh, and another man, the man called Josie Wales, put the gun in my hand and show me how to point. I grew up in Copenhagen City and watched the guns change. I know they don't come from Papa Lo. They come from the 2 men who bring guns to the ghetto and the 1 man who showed me how to use it. We, the Syrian, the American, and Dr. Love, out by the shack near the sea.
Barry DeFlorio. There's only one sign hanging outside, but it's so big that even inside you can see the yellow curves of the logo tilting off the roof. So huge that one day it's bound to fall, probably when some little kid's running in because school had let out early. So this kid, right, is going to cross the threshold just as the big logo starts to creak, and he won't even hear it because his little tummy is grumbling so loud, and as he tries to pull the door open, it'll all come crashing down. Poor kid's ghost will curse like a fucking sailor when he gets a load of what popped him. King Burger, home of the Wamperer. There's also a McDonald's farther down Halfway Tree Road. The logo is blue, and the people who work there swear Mr. McDonald is in the back room. But I'm at King Burger, home of the Wamperer. Nobody here has ever heard of Burger King. Inside, the chairs are plastic and yellow. The tables are fiberglass and red, and the menu looks like those letters at the cinema that say coming soon. The place is never packed at 3 p.m., which is of course the reason I come here. People in packs always make me antsy. All you need is the wrong spark and a group turns into a mob. I wonder if that's why outside is all grilled up. I've been in Jamaica since January. There's a sign behind the cashier that says if your burger isn't ready in 15 minutes, it's free. 2 days ago, when I touched my watch 16 minutes later, she said it only applied to cheeseburgers. Yesterday, when my cheeseburger was late, she said it only applied to chicken sandwiches. Poor girl must be running out of burgers to blame. But nobody comes here. One of the things I fucking hate about my fellow Americans, whenever they fly to a foreign country, first thing they do, they try to find as much of America as they can get their hands on, even if it's food in the shitty cafeteria. Sally, who's been here since the Johnson administration, has never had ackee and saltfish ever, despite me being probably the 2 millionth person to say, baby, it's like scrambled eggs but better. My kids love it. My wife, she wished they had manwich or ragu or even hamburger helper, but good luck finding that at a supermarket. Good luck finding anything, really. The first time I had jerk chicken, a guy at the intersection of Constant Spring Road and some other road came up to my car and shouted, "Boss, you ever have jerk chicken?" Before I could find that broken-off handle to wind up the window. He was tall and skinny, in a white undershirt, huge afro, shiny teeth, and shiny muscles. Too many muscles for one kid. But the man, boy really, smelled like allspice. So I got out of the car and followed him back to his shop, a small shack, wood tacked together with a zinc roof and striped in blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. The man grabbed the biggest fucking machete I ever saw in my life and sliced off a piece of chicken leg as if he had just cut through warm butter. He handed it to me, and I was about to eat it, but he closed his eyes and nodded no. Just like that, firm, peaceful, and final. Before I said anything, he pointed at a huge jar, kind of translucent, like it's been standing there a while. Hey, I'm nothing if not adventurous. My wife would say crazy. It was a humongous glass jar of mashed pepper paste. I dipped the chicken in and swallowed the piece whole. You know that part in Roadrunner where Wile E. Coyote's bomb goes off right after he swallows it and smoke comes out of his ears and nose? Or that dipstick, first time at the sushi bar thinking, damn right I can swallow a teaspoon of wasabi? That was me. I don't think the man knew that white people could turn so many shades of red. I blinked a teardrop and hiccuped for at least a minute. Somebody had doused my mouth with sugar and gasoline, lit a match, and woof. Shit, goddamn motherfucker, that fucking shit is the fucking blood of life, I remember coughing out. I asked the cashier at King Burger if they ever thought of a jerk burger. Ghetto food? She said, and scoffed in that way Jamaican women do, closed her eyes, lifted her chin, and turned away. I'm in here nearly every day, and this girl is the same. She says, "Can I take your order?" A cheeseburger. "Would you like a lemonade or a milkshake with your order?" "No, just a D&G grape." "Does that complete your order?" "Yes." Whamperer tastes just like a Whopper minus the taste. Even the lettuce knows it can do better. So wet and bitter on this burger that I order every day for shits, just so I can tell my kids, you know what I had today? Papa had a Whamperer. And they think their pop has a stammer. The sun is jumping ship and evening's coming. But this country needs a good disco. Right now, skipping countries every 3 to 5 years or so is all that keeps me sane, though nobody gets to the other end of the company keeping sane. Some of the craziest bullshit I've ever heard was from my former station chief, well before he got a serious case of the conscience. His son is here. Came in on American Flight DC-301 from New York. He's been here now 3 days and has no idea I know he's here. Not that he knows me or anything. Bring your child to work day was not one of the ideas his daddy bounced around. It's not like it's a secret why he's here. But when the son of the former head of the company suddenly shows up in Jamaica, even a guy on the inside starts to wonder if there was something he missed. Word was he's a filmmaker, or one of those rich kids with enough money to buy their own camera. He came with a bunch of photographers and film people for this peace concert by that reggae guy who's bigger than sliced bread these days. It's supposed to be big, and though I've only been here since January, even I know the country needs some sort of peace. It's not going to come from that guy in the Prime Minister's office, but still. So the big reggae guy is staging a concert, which was organized by the Prime Minister's party, which almost makes big reggae guy a person of interest. The embassy got news that Roberta Flack is flying in, and Mick Jagger and Keith Richards are already here. The motherfucking Rolling Stones. No, I don't listen to big reggae guy. Reggae is monotonous and boring, and the drummer must have the laziest job in the world next to King Burger cashier. I prefer ska. I prefer Desmond Decker. Only yesterday, I asked the King Burger cashier if she liked oobla-dee oobla-da, and she looked at me as if I had just asked her to hit me up with some smack. Me no, she said. I said, then what do you listen to? What's playing at the jam session? She said, Big Youth and Mighty Diamonds. I said, yeah, Mighty Diamonds and Big Youth are cool and all, but did either ever get name-checked in a fucking Beatles song, like Desmond Decker? She said, please watch your language, sir. This is a law-abiding premises. How do you construct an accident? Nobody in the company is indispensable, but sometimes I wonder why don't they just call somebody else? At least they didn't have me ground-working Montevideo. What a goddamn mess that turned out to be. But I like having a job I can't talk about. It makes keeping the other secrets easier. The wife finally came around to the fact that as long as we're married, there are just some things she will never know. And she had to get used to what all our wives get used to. Knowing 2 out of every 4 facts, 5 out of every 10 trips, 1 out of every 5 deaths. I don't think she knows exactly what I do. At least, that's the story I'm sticking to this week. I'm in Jamaica, and almost everything is moving according to plan, which is a boneheaded way of saying things are moving so textbook easy that it's actually rather boring to work here. Not surprised at all. Jamaicans tend to react exactly as you think they would. Maybe that's refreshing to some, or maybe just a relief. So back when I mentioned the jerk chicken guy, that was in May, and I wasn't in that area because I suddenly wanted to experience the real Jamaica. I was following a man in a car 4 cars up, a person of keen interest that a driver picked up at the Constant Spring Hotel. At first I thought I was brought here to shadow him, only to find out that he was shadowing me. He used to work for the company, until he also caught a terminal case of the conscience. This is what happens when top brass still tries to recruit from Ivy League washouts, prep school faggots, American Kim Philbys waiting to come out of the closet, if not the cold. By the time I found out that he was in Jamaica, he had already found out I was here. I'm not exactly undercover, too late for that. That said, I couldn't have this man talking up a mess that I would then have to clean up. Pity that I didn't have clearance to proceed. It's not even over, and I miss the Cold War already. Bill Adler checked out of the company in 1969, a very bitter customer. Maybe he was just a disgruntled left-wing commie, but tons of those are still in the company. Sometimes the good ones are the worst. The mediocre ones are just civil servants with wiretapping skills, but the good ones either become him or me. And he was sometimes very good. After he was done with Ecuador, a 4-year job done with, dare I say it, brio, all I had to do was clean up the stray debris. Of course, I'd much rather remind him of that lovely mess in Tlatelolco. The boss called me an innovator, but I was just following the Adler rulebook. Ceiling mics, like the one he used in Montevideo. Either way, he left the CIA in 1969 with a critical case of conscience and has been making trouble and endangering lives ever since. Last year he dropped a book, not a very good one, but there were explosions in it. We knew it was coming, but let it go, thinking, well, maybe a diversion with his out-of-date info would actually help us out there doing real work. Turns out his info was very nearly top-notch, and why wouldn't it be, come to think of it? He named names, too, inside the company. Top brass didn't read it, but Miles Copeland did, another whiny faggot who used to run the Cairo office. He ordered the London office restructured from the ground up. Then Richard Welch got murdered in Athens by 17 November, a second-rate terrorist group that we wouldn't have sent a candy striper to monitor. Killed with his wife and driver, too. But with all that, with knowing all that he was capable of, I still had no idea why Adler was here. He wasn't an official guest of the government. That would have been an irredeemable faux pas on the Prime Minister's behalf, especially after shooting the shit with Kissinger just a few months ago. But the Prime Minister was certainly happy he was here. Meanwhile, I'm waiting for orders from Head Section to neutralize the threat of this man, or at least mute it. The Jamaica Council for Human Rights invited him, forcing me to open a brand new file on my already crowded desk. Within days, the guy was giving speeches, long speeches about all kinds of bullshit, like his name was Castro or something, saying that people like me were in Latin America with him, and he was disgusted by what he saw, especially in Chile, when we allowed Pinochet to take power. He didn't name me, but I knew who he was talking about, calling us the horsemen of apocalypse, destabilizing any country in our wake. He was dramatic, all right, all the time pulling back on how much of this came out of his own rulebook. And that's all this Prime Minister needed, a nice multi-syllable word like destabilization to turn it into a fucking jingle. But he threw us on the defensive in a way that I'll make sure never happens again. Of course, the only people listening was Penthouse magazine. Goddamn, what does it mean when the conscience of America airbrushes pussy for a living? Guys like Adler, guys who suddenly develop this sense of mission to expose evil America when they're just white guys with a guilty conscience who never know when to quit. And the company couldn't decide if I should just quit him. At one point, he claimed he had evidence that the company was behind arson in some tenement, they call it, on Orange Street, murder of more than a few Cubans in Jamaica, and industrial unrest on the wharf. He said he had evidence that the company was giving the opposition party money, which was just preposterous, considering what bad form it would have been, trusting anybody in the Third World with money. I don't know why he didn't just send an article to Mother Jones or Rolling Stone or something. Before the company gave me a clear directive of what to do, he was gone, my eyes and ears tell me, to Cuba. But the bastard did his damage. He gave the Jamaicans names. Fucking names. Not mine, but 11 of the staff at the embassy, blowing the cover of at least 7 of them. They had to be shipped back before any realized that they knew them by assumed names. Because of Adler, I had to start from scratch. In the middle of September, in a year that was doing nobody any favors. Everything from scratch, which already led to problems. Passing his office, I overheard Louis on the phone talking about a shipment at the wharf that went rogue. I did some checking. Nobody in this office has ordered any shipment of anything, and if they did, they certainly wouldn't have had it go through Jamaican customs for 2/3 of it to be stolen. Need-to-know basis serves him as much as it does me, but I don't like it when a fucking rogue agent somewhere in Cuba finds out something is gone before I even know I was supposed to miss it. Means his low-level snoops still have higher clearance than me, and I'm supposed to be running the fucking show. Louis didn't sound too distressed when he was telling all this to God knows who, and I got tired of standing near his doorway like I was trying to get gossip. The wife called not long ago to tell me she had run out of maraschino cherries again. I tell you, the Cold War isn't even over, and I miss it already.
Papalo. Listen to me now. Me warning me now, my magnanimous gentlemens. Long time I drop warnings that other people close, friend and enemy, was going to get him in a whole heap of trouble. Everyone we know at least one, don't it? Them kind of man who just stay a certain way. Always have a notion, but never come up with a single idea. Always working plenty of scheme, but never have a plan. That was certain people. Here is my friend, the biggest superstar in the world, and yet him have some of the smallest mind to come out of the ghetto as friend. Me not going to name who, but a wonder singer. I say, you have some people right close to you who going to do nothing but take you down. You hear me? Me tired to say that to him. Sick and tired. But him just laugh that laugh that swallow the room. That laugh that sound like he already have a plan. People think me understand everything to the fullness. That is not no lie. One differ us gentlemens, but Jah know. Sometimes I don't learn till too late. And to know something too late, well, it's better you never know, as my mother used to say. Worse, you all present tense and have to deal with sudden past tense all around you. It's like realizing somebody robbed you a year late. So look at me. See all this? From the old cemetery to the west, the harbor to the south, and all of the southwest Kingston. Me run that. The 8 lanes is P&P, so they watch them own affairs. Then you have the territory in the middle that we have to fight for and sometimes lose. He used to live in Trenchtown, so some people have him as stooge for the People's National Party. But me will take a bullet for him, and him would take one for me too. But them new boys, them boys who never dance to rock steady and don't care about nicing up the dance, them boys don't work for nobody. Me enforce for the Jamaica Labour Party in green, and Shatta Sheriff control for the People's National Party in orange, but them new boys enforce for the party in them back pocket. Can't even control them no more. Earlier this year, when he gone on tour, after begging me to come with him to see London town, of course me couldn't go. Me so much as sleep and his armor Gideon down the ghetto. He leave certain brethren at the house. Soon as him gone, them boys call ghetto boys from jungle because they have a grand scheme. This one, vociferous, like them big scheme you watch on TV, where Hannibal Hayes and Kid Curry stick up a bank and still get the sexy girl who hand them over the money. We try to keep the peace, me and Shatta Sheriff. But whenever things get out of hand, somebody kill a school picnic for her lunch money, or rape a woman on her way to church, is usually somebody from somewhere like jungle, man who born with no light in them eye. Them is the people that get together with the singer friend on him own premises and scheme. 1 week before the King's sweepstakes, 5 man from jungle drive all the way down to Kemana's racecourse on a training day and wait for the top jockey, who never lose a race, to come out to the parking lot. As soon as he step out in him riding clothes, 2 man grab him and 1 cover him head with a crocus bag. They take him somewhere I don't know where and do something I don't know what. But come that Saturday, he lose the 3 race he was in. 3 race he was supposed to win easy, including the sweepstakes. He board a flight to Miami the following Monday, then poof, gone Nobody know where he gone, not even him family. Horse fixing is as old as horse race. But a little people make a lot of money too fast. Too fast. The same week the jockey vanish, 2 men from jungle also disappear. Poof! Like they never born in the first place. And certain brethren all of a sudden had to make pilgrimage to Ethiopia. Now, me respect Rastafari to the max, and a man have to go to him homeland if that is where he think it be. But somehow, all of a sudden, when people holding out for money, the brethren with all of it just skip. Who knows what happened to the money? That was the beginning. From then, all sorts bad guzum come to the singer own house. Con man with con plan in the same house where music need to vibe off pure spirit. I remember when that was the only place any man, no matter what side you on, could escape a bullet. The only place in Kingston where the only thing that hit you was music. But the fucking people soil it up with bad vibes. Better if they did just go into the studio one morning and shit all over the console. Me no going say who. By the time the singer come back from tour, mob from jungle was already waiting for him. Jamaican man head tick like brick. Never mind that the man was on tour and didn't know nothing about no horse race, or that he never cheat no man ever. Jungle man say, the scheme launch upon your property, so you responsible. Then they take him out to Helsha Beach, saying he need to eat some fish. He tell me all this himself. Now he's a man who could talk to God and the devil, and make them work out their difference, as long as neither of them have woman. But that morning, they come for him at 6 o'clock, before he go off to run an exercise and swim in the river like he do every morning. That was the first sign. Nobody mess up with the singer's morning. That is when the sun rise to send him message, when the Holy Spirit tell him what to sing next, when he closest to the Most High. Still, he go with them. They drive out to Fort Clarence Beach, 20 miles or so from West Kingston, but just across the sea, and so close that you can see it from across the water. He tell me all this himself. The whole time they was talking, they look away, shift from side to side, staring at the ground, because they didn't want him to mark their face. Your brethren, him gone in a scheme with me, sight. Your brethren come round the jungle, cause him want bad man for do him dirty work, sight. Your brethren bring me upon your base for talk business, sight. Seeing, but me no know about that, my youth, he said to them. Oi, me no blood clot care what you want say. Business go down under your roof, so is you responsible. Brethren, how you say that? After the man is not me. Him not me brother, him not me son. How me responsible? Oi, you hear what we say? Me just say it. Me say me. Just say it. You never hear. It happened under your roof. And him gone like some stinking bitch, cause him greedy, sight. After we show the jockey and say, yo, you better throw off them 3 race, or we're coming for you and the baby in your woman belly. We do we thing, the jockey do him thing, everybody do him thing. But your friend and him friend dash out with the money and leave poor man fi stay poor. How people can so fuck up? Me no know star, him said to the man who was doing the most talking. Short, stubby, and smell like sawdust. I know who him talking about. So they said to him, yo, hear how it a go-go, sight? We want we money, sight? So every day we are go send brother upon a bike for pick up 2 shipment. 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. You see me? Him never tell me how much money them ask for, but me still have eyes and ears. Them tell me say it's 40,000 US to scam pay off, and them never see none of it. They must demand at least 10,000 out of that, probably more. So now they want to pick up stash of cash every day till they feel they get enough. Him say, no boss, that is con man business, me not pay that. And how you fi do the ISO? It's 3,000 a year me pay for every day. Send you to school and feed you. 3,000 a year. That's when the second thing happened. Nearly all of them pulled gun pon him right there at Fort Clarence Beach. Some of them man not even 14 yet, and them pull gun pon the one man that understand what them have to deal with. But them man is a new kind of man. They operate in a different style. Everybody, grandiloquent gentlemen, everybody in Copenhagen City, the 8 lanes, jungle, Rima, uptown and downtown know that nobody ever pull gun on the singer. Even the weather knew that this was a new thing. Some different kind of black cloud that nobody seen in the sky before. The singer have to talk the guns, all 7 of them, right back into their back pocket, belt loop and holster. The next day, a man on a green Vespa start showing up at the house 2 times a day, every day. He tell me this the same day me come round to hail him up, smoke 2 weed and talk about the peace concert. Plenty people said that the concert was not a wise move. Some people already think he support the People's National Party, and that only going make it worse. Some of the people said they don't respect him no more, because Rasta not supposed to bow. You can't reason with them, man, because them never born with the part of the brain that man reason with. I tell him all this, and that he have nothing to worry about from me. Truth be, I getting old, and want me picking to see me get so old that them have to carry me. Last week in the market, me see a young boy come pick up him old grandfather. He could even walk good without a big cane, and him little grandson giving him a shoulder. Me grudge the weak old man so much, me nearly start cry right there in the market. I go back home and walk the street, and notice something for the first time. Not a single old man in the ghetto. Me said to him, "Friend, you know me? You know Shot a Sheriff from the other side? Just call him and tell him to make them jungle man back off." But he wiser than me. He know that Shot a Sheriff can't help either when man with gun gone freelance style. Last month, a shipment on the wharf just disappeared. Not long after that, freelance bad boy have machine gun, M16, M9 and Glock, and nobody can account for where they come from. Woman breed baby, but man can only make Frankenstein. But when he tell me about the boys from jungle, he tell me like a father who just tell him son something too big for him to handle. He know even before me know that me couldn't help him. Me want you to understand something good. Me love that man to the max. Me would take a bullet for the singer, but gentlemen's, me can only take one.
Nina Burgess. Right after they told me at the gate that nobody can come in but immediate family and the band, a man rode up right behind me on a lime green scooter. He rode up the same time I walked up and said nothing. Just listened to the guard talk to me without shutting off his engine, and then took off without talking to the guard himself. "Was that a pickup or a delivery?" I said to the guard, who didn't see it funny. Ever since news broke about the peace concert, security here tighter than a prime minister's motorcade. Or up a nun's panty, my last boyfriend would say. The man at the gate was new. I knew about the peace concert. Everybody in Jamaica knew about it. And so I expected guards or police, not these men who look like the very people you would want to keep out. Things was getting crucial. Maybe it was a good thing, because as soon as the taxi dropped me off, the part of me that I like to shut off after morning coffee said, "What do you think you're doing here, skinny-legged fool?" The great thing about a bus is another one is right behind it, ready to sweep you away as soon as you realize you've made a mistake. A taxi just drops you off and it's gone. I would start walking at least, but damn if I could think of a better idea. Havendale is not no Irish town, but it's still uptown, and if we didn't think it was safe, we still didn't think it was sorry. I mean, This is not the ghetto. Babies aren't crying in the street, and women aren't getting raped pregnant as what happens every day in the ghetto. I've seen the ghetto, been there with my father. Everybody lives in their own Jamaica, and damn if that was ever going to be mine. Last week, somewhere between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m., 3 men broke into my father's house. My mother is always looking for signs and wonders, and for her, the fact that the newspaper last week said gunmen crossed the halfway tree line and have started picking off targets uptown was a very bad sign. The curfew was still on, and even decent uptown people had to be indoors by a certain hour. 6, 8, who knows? Or they would be up for grabs. Last month, Mr. Jacobs from 4 houses down was coming home from night service, and the police stopped him, threw him in the back of the van, and sent him to the gun court lockup. He would still be there if Daddy didn't find a judge to tell him that this was straight foolishness when we start to lock up every proper law-abiding people. Neither man mentioned that Mr. Jacobs was too dark-skinned for police to assume he was proper people, even in a gabardine suit. Then gunmen broke into our house. They took my parents' wedding rings, all my mother's figurines from Holland, $300, all her costume earrings, even though she told them they were worth nothing, and his watch. They punched my father a couple times and slapped my mother when she asked one of them if his mother knew that he was sinning. I asked her if any of the men had their way with her, but said the rose bush was growing wild like a Lego beast, and I pretended I was talking to somebody else. The policeman didn't come until the morning, even though they called the station all night. 9:30 in the morning, long after I got there. They didn't call me until 6, and he took a statement on a yellow pad with a red pen. He had to say perpetrator to himself 3 times just to figure out how to spell it. When he said, "Was any aggressive weapon brought into play?" I burst out laughing, and my mother said I should excuse myself. This country, this goddamn island is going to kill us. Since the robbery, Daddy don't talk. A man likes to think he can protect what's his, but then somebody else comes and takes it, and he's not much of a man anymore. I don't think less of him. But Mommy always talk about how at one time he could have bought a house in Norbrook, and he turned it down because he already had a safe and sound home with no mortgage to pay. I'm not calling him a coward. I'm not saying he's stingy. But sometimes when you're too careful, it just turns into a different kind of carelessness. It's not that either. He's from a generation that never even expected to get midway up the ladder. So when he got there, he was too stunned to dare climb higher. That's the problem with Midway. Up is everything, and down just means all the white people want to party on your street on Sunday night to feel realness. Midway is nowhere. Back in high school, I used to have him stop at the bus stop or pray for the light to go red so that I could get out before he dropped me off at school. Kimmy, who has yet to visit her parents, even after they've been robbed and her mother possibly raped, never caught the drift and always cussed when he said, "You get out too." Fact is, Daddy was not a 14-year-old girl at the Immaculate Conception High School for girls, trying to act as if she had as much money and as much right to stick her head out and walk like an air hostess as anybody else who showed up in a Volvo. You couldn't just drive up in a Ford Escort in front of those little bitches who were always lying in ambush at the gate to see who drove up in what. "Did you see Lisa's father drop her off in some jalopy?" "My boyfriend says it's a Cortina." "That's what Daddy have the maid use." What really boiled my blood is that it's not that Daddy didn't have money, but he could never think of a single good reason to spend it. Which is why, in a way, it makes sense that he would be robbed. But it also makes sense that the robber didn't get away with anything much. That's the only thing he would talk about, that the sons of mangy bitches only got $300. Can't play it safe when nowhere's safe anymore. Mummy say at one point, they held my father by his two hands so that each could kick him in the balls like they play in football. And how he's already refusing to see the doctor, even though his stream not as powerful as it was only a week. Good God, now I sound like my mother. The fact is that if they came once, they could come again. And who knows, they might even do something bad enough for Kimmy to call her goddamn parents after they've been robbed and her mother possibly raped. This socialist prime minister's latest ism is runawayism. I must be the only woman in Jamaica who didn't hear the prime minister say that there were 5 flights to Miami for anybody who wanted to leave. Better must come. Better was supposed to come 4 years ago. Now we have ism this and ism that. And Daddy, who just loves to talk about politics. That is, when he's not wishing he had a son. Since men would actually care about the fate of the country and not being a beauty queen. I hate politics. I hate that just because I live here, I'm supposed to live politics. And there's nothing you can do. If you don't live politics, politics will live you. Danny was from Brooklyn, a blonde-haired man who came down to do research for his degree in agricultural science. Who knew that the one thing Jamaica created that was the envy of science was a cow? Anyway, we were seeing each other. He would take me around to Mayfair Hotel uptown for a drink. And suddenly, there would be Caucasians. Men, women, old, young, all as if God just waved a wand and poof, white people. I am what they call high brown. But even with my skin color, seeing so many white people was a shock. Somebody must have mistook this for the North Coast for there to be so many tourists. But then, one would open his mouth and patois would tumble out. Even after going there too often to remember, I would pick my jaw off the ground every time I overheard a white man chat bad. Wait! Is you that busher? Can't see you these days, man. You get rich and switch? They didn't even have a tan. Danny would listen to really weird music. Just noise that he would play loud sometimes to piss me off. Just noise. Rock and roll, the Eagles and the Rolling Stones, and too many black people who should just stop acting white. But at night, he would play a song. We broke up almost 4 years ago, but every time I look outside the window, I sing 2 lines over and over. I do believe, if you don't like things, you leave. Funny, it is because of Danny that I met him. Some party that the record label had all the way up in the hills. Bush people and white people are all that live up here, huh? I remember saying. Danny said he never knew black people could be racist. I went to get some punch, poured it slow to kill time, then saw Danny talking to the label boss. I was exactly what those workers thought I was. Some uppity nigger fucking the American. Right beside Danny and the label boss was him. Somebody whom I never thought I would meet. Even my mother liked his last single, though my father despised him. He was shorter than I expected, and me, him, and his manager were the only black people there not asking if we would like our drinks freshened up. Standing there, he was like a black lion. "How the sexy daughter just come pon the man so," he said. 15 years of schooling on how to talk proper, and that is still the sweetest thing I ever heard come out of a man's mouth. I didn't see him again until long after Danny went back, and I followed my sister Kimmy, who has yet to call her parents after they've been robbed and her mother possibly raped, to a party at his house. He didn't forget me. But wait, you is Kimmy's sister? Is where you was hiding? Or you was like Sleeping Beauty, eh? Waiting for the man to wake you up? The whole time I'm splitting in two. The part of me that I like to shut off after morning coffee said, "Yes, reason with me, my sexy brethren. The other part going, "What do you think you're doing with this lice-infested Rasta?" Kimmy left after a while. I didn't see her go. I stayed, even after everybody left. I was watching him, me and the moon, when he went out on the veranda naked like some night spirit with a knife to peel an apple. Locks like a lion, and muscles all over and shining in the moon. Only 2 people know that Midnight Ravers is about me. I hate politics. I hate that I'm supposed to know. Daddy said that nobody is driving him out of his own country, but he's still thinking gunmen are somebody. I wish I was rich. I wish I was working and not laid off, and I hope he would at least remember that night on his balcony with the apple. We have family in Miami, the same place Michael Manley told us to go if we want to leave. We have a place to stay, but Daddy don't want to spend any money. Damn it. Now the singer is so big, nobody can see him anymore. Even a woman that know him better than most women. Actually, I don't know what I'm talking about. This is the dumb shit women always think. That you know a man or that you've unlocked some secret just because you let him into your panties. Shit. If anything, I know even less now. It's not like he called me after. I'm across the road, waiting at the bus stop. But so far I've let 2 pass. Then a 3rd. He hasn't come through the front door. Not once. Not for me to run across the road that instant and shout, "Remember me? Long time no see. I need your help."
This ends